Hey everybody, my name is Kaila Keliikuli. I'm the developer of Somatic Groundwork and the director of interdisciplinary movement in somatics. Today I invite you to do a somatic groundwork practice with me where we play with some of our basic standing patterns. First of all, I'm going to show which patterns we're going to work with, and then we'll put these together in a phrase. So the first one is essentially a wide plie or a wide bend. With this one, you're going to have your heels maybe a little wider than your shoulders, and you're also in a slight external rotation. And that's probably the most important thing for you to make agreements about, is what that rotation is. For me, that's about a 2 and a 10 on a clock, but this isn't really about how far my feet can rotate out. This is really about finding that good supported external rotation that you have within your hips. So once you've decided where that external rotation is, then go ahead again, place your heels a little wider than shoulders. You can also make adjustments there. And this is essentially a bend. I'm folding hips, knees, and ankles. I'm keeping my shoulder girdle right over my pelvic girdle, and I'm moving down. So I'm maintaining my verticality. This is different than a hip hinge, for example. All right, so finding your wide plie, and let's do a handful of them together. And you're essentially doing this to warm up, but also to make any adjustments that you need to find the pattern that you're going to work with today. I'm also paying attention to how I'm using this fundamental force of push through the lower body. So I bend down, and I'm first finding that push from the bended place that moves back up through me, starting with the feet, and I'm sending that all the way through my crown. All right, so that's wide plie. The next one is a reverse lunge. So in a reverse lunge, moving to a single leg balance, and then that leg that is up reaches back, and I call this the reach to the kickstand. And if you notice, as I reach back, I am moving into a small single leg squat. And that does have a hip hinge, meaning that tail is reaching back, and I'm getting a deeper fold within the hip, and my spine moves slightly forward. I find that kickstand really reaching back. Once I get my toes down, shifting weight back, knee bends, and now I'm more in that verticality place again, where shoulder girdle is over pelvic girdle. And then pushing from the back foot, that moves your weight back to your front leg, and then 2 feet together. So single leg balance, reaching back to the kickstand, transferring your weight so that you're equal front and back. Back knee bends to about 90 degrees, or if you want to go all the way down to the ground, that's fine too. Back leg presses away from the ground, weight shifts forward, 2 feet together. Okay, so just like you did with the wide plie, go ahead and do that 10 to 12 times on one side and 10 to 12 times on the other. All right, so I'm just going to stick with that same leg. For me, that was my right side going back. So reverse lunge, 2 feet together. And find the tempo that's right here for you. And as you get into the practice and you kind of find the rhythm for your reverse lunge, go ahead and check into your chest, your throat, your jaw, your neck, and allow those to be soft and easy, just riding right on top of the movement. And then after you've done a set on that side, go ahead and do the other side. I'll go ahead and change my orientation here. Again, first movement here is getting that shift to your standing leg in order to get that single leg balance. Okay, let's move on to the third and final pattern that we're going to use today. And that's a lateral lunge. So we'll do this one in steps. My recommendation is to come back out to the wide stance, but you might not have your feet externally rotated as much as you did before. They can still be out a little bit, but you're thinking now more about where your feet would need to be to move yourself forward. So I'm going to set my feet up there, and then I'm going to push from my left foot and let that push move through my hips so that my hips travel laterally right. Or kind of sometimes think about this press from the foot transferring through the pelvis, almost like my hips were on a conveyor belt. And as I do that, then I'm going to lower down into my right side. Now you have two options here. You can stay in your verticality, so you can stay more in this bending kind of pattern, or as you push into your leg and fold your leg, you can move into a hip hinge. I'm going to do the hip hinge version, so I'm just kind of warming up the push into fold, really following that push from the ground through that leg, through my center, and then loading into my opposite side. And I'm taking a small range here. And then I'm going to go into the other side. So again, feet, find that width that's comfortable for you, pressing from one foot. That push moves through a straight leg, transfers into the pelvis, and then moves your hips to the side, lateral shift, and then loads into the other side. And again, choosing whether you're going to maintain more of a bend or go into a hip hinge, which is a squat pattern. Now after you've done each side individually, go ahead and take that lateral shift and move yourself back and forth. And as you do that, come back into your upper body again, finding that softness, ease through the shoulder girdle, through the throat, into the jaw and the neck. And noticing what you're seeing, and allow your eyes to wander around. All right, so that's kind of the fundamentals of a lateral shift. What we're going to be doing in our phrase here is a step out lateral lunge. So now that you know where that lateral lunge is for, you come back to standing, 2 feet right underneath you, and now step out to the lunge and then press back. And when you step out to the lunge, try and find that same position you were in when you were doing the lateral shifting. And go ahead and do that maybe about 10 times on one side. And then once you're done with that side, moving into the other side. I often think about this kind of a lateral lunge being like a first jump. So I load into that single leg, and then I use my foot like a jump mechanic toe ball heel to press away to come back to 2 feet. All right, so once you've done about the same number on each side, go ahead and take a short rest. And as you take this rest break, see if you can bring your breath into slowing down and also feel that sense of ease throughout your entire structure. Okay, so next we're going to put these 3 things together. I'm going to keep them in the same order as we learn them. So first it's going to be the wide plie, then it's going to be the reverse lunge, and then it's going to be the lateral lunge. All right, so starting in standing with feet right underneath you, stepping out now to that wide plie. So this is a little bit of a stepping out and around. And you're going to notice that you're changing directions as you do this. So wide plie and back. Next, it's the reverse lunge, 2 feet. And then from here, stepping out lateral lunge and back. So let's do this kind of moderate tempo. Let's do this four rounds. Wide plie, reverse lunge, lateral lunge. Here's round 2. Round 3. Round 4. And go ahead and take a break there. Again, you're noticing, okay, what's changed? How did my circulation change? How did my breathing rate change? What other sensations do I notice after doing that? Okay, so switching sides, and again, let's go for 4 rounds. So for me, this is my left foot doing the step out. Wide plie, reverse lunge, lateral lunge. Round 2. Reverse lunge, lateral lunge. And 3. And 4. And then coming to pause. Doing any little movements that you might want to do after that exercise. Sometimes it feels good to move through the neck, twist and rotate through spine. Who knows what little impulses for movement might show itself. So from here, I invite you to do that again, same order, 4 rounds on each side. And then after that, start to explore and play with the order. Maybe change the rhythm, maybe doing 2 repetitions of each movement before you change. Perhaps adding in more direction changes as you go. And you can even incorporate other movements in between, things that might take you down to the floor, or other standing movements as you like. Let me know how this practice goes. Leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for joining me.